Ball against George. The kick out to Hill. On the wing, Ellis. Shot clock at 3. The shot by George, wide open. George missing again. Right side, Wall. And he gets it to go. John Wall.
Oh, that is just weak defense there.
And still a close game as the first quarter comes to a close. Wizards lead by 1. We'll get things started in the second quarter when we return. Welcome back, everyone. We're ready to get going again as this presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports continues. Players are topped off with Gatorade, hydrated, and ready to get going again as well. And when you consider how the Wizards are doing, guys, your thoughts?
They've won the effort battle, and that's allowed them to control the backcourt.
And it's been gang rebounding. I mean, everybody has done a great job boxing out for them, and it's showing up on the stat sheet.
So this is how the floor looks for the Wizards starting the second. The talented Wall and Beal team up in the backcourt. Otto Porter Jr. out there with Jared Dudley. And it's Gortat in at the center filling out the middle.
And for the last 3 seasons, what a talented young backcourt John Wall and Bradley Beal have become. Wall drafted first overall, Beal third in different drafts. A little lottery luck, if you will, and great scouting of these two.
Took him no time at all on that one. CJ! Miles has got 5.
Boy, I tell you what, he loves getting looks like that from the three-point line. No one near him. That's a warm-up jumper for him.
Outside, Wall. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up. I think all 3 of us agree John Wall, a tremendous all-around player.
Outstanding. Speed was what jumped out at me most when I saw him first at Kentucky. Now he's been able to harness that speed as a pro, and he makes plays that very few can make as a point guard.
He gives you a lot of different looks, doesn't he?
He sure does.
Ellis, the pass to George. Back to Ellis. Lets it go from the wing. And the shot's good after hitting off the rim.
That's a clean look they gave him there, fellas, and he drains those. Man, he got fancy with that one, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe trying to give them the momentum boost they need to break this game open.
I tell you what, I like that, though, guys. Some coaches might not want you to make a play like that, but I tell you what, when you got the skills like that, I say go for it.
Outside for George. Here's the 3. Ellis can't get it to go. Wizards have gone 1 of 3 to start out the second quarter. Beal gets a wide open look. And good, coming off the assist by Wall.
Well, that's one way he can finish, but far from the only way he gets it done. He's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve.
Hill drives in. And it's Miles missing.
Ill-advised shot there, Clark.
Yeah, exactly. That was lower than low percentage.
And here's Dudley for 3. And again, Washington with the triple.
And doing a great job here just stringing together solid possessions as they build that lead.
I tell you, there's no substitute for consistency, Greg. You know that, I know it. You can stay in control of the game. They'll stay in control of it if they simply stay good with their execution of the game plan and don't waste any possession.
Ooh, that's as forceful a finish as you're ever going to see out of this guy.
Well, gee, it adds now to their lead in spectacular fashion.
And, you know, that lead's only going to grow if they're not prepared to defend a little more staunchly than that. Took advantage of some shoddy defense there. They've got to at least get a finger on him.
Beal from long range. Near the three-point line, it's Ellis. He got it up in time, but it wouldn't fall. And the first half comes to a close. We've got a close game going on here. Washington out in front, up by 5. And don't go away. After the break, we'll see you right back here for the start of the third quarter. Welcome back, everybody. The start of the second half getting underway. Both teams battling hard through the first half. Paul George really making a difference here.
And really, all of a sudden, he's becoming their best distributor, doing a great job of orchestrating their offense.
Greg, typically that's not the role he usually plays, and I'm not sure how comfortable he is in it, but they've needed him to make some plays today, and he's been able to do it to his credit.
And now the start of the second half. Neither side jumping out ahead through the first 2 quarters.
Looking at the game for George, he has 9 points, and he's done a good job distributing the ball as well.
And you can't really place a value on what that means to a team. His passing has really helped their cause.
Hill is up there with Ellis. Then it's Turner. Then there's C.J. Miles. And it's George in the power forward position. That's the group starting the second half for Frank Vogel. Well, looking at the Wizards, they weren't as lauded as other teams last season, but the Wizards were a ferocious group on defense. Numbers support that. Their activity, Greg, could really bother teams.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, oftentimes.
You know, sort of surprising he goes for a slam that difficult while they're trailing.
Yeah, but still, you know what? A magnificent move to the rim.
I tell you what, guys, I don't care what the score is. That's the play we're going to remember when this game is over.
And there's the foul. It goes on C.J. Miles. That is his first foul of the game. It's stolen by Hill. The reverse. It's deflected. No one near Wall as he lets it go. And off the left side of the rim, and it swirls in for him.
He's played an important role in their offense today, guys. Without him, they may not be in the lead.
The thing about Bradley Beal, when he suits up, the entire lineup becomes exponentially more potent. A quick, powerful athlete, Greg, high basketball IQ, had the great teaching at Florida, carries it to the NBA. Opponents have to account for him, I think, on both ends of the floor.
And that's a great point, Kevin. I mean, coming out of college, a lot of people compared him to Ray Allen. I mean, he possesses that next level smoothness and body control that's often indicative of a true difference maker.
Here's Wall. Hill pulls it in.
Terrific job that time defending at the rim. I mean, it's not an easy task stopping that fella when he's headed to the bucket like that. Good job. And, going back to Bradley Beal, the bottom line is he's a winner. Last year, the Wizards went 8-9 with Beal out of the lineup. Hard to argue with those facts and numbers.
So the Pacers call timeout, their first of the game.
And when you talk about Bradley Beal, it's not just having him in the lineup that matters. It's having him at his best. When he's at 100% health, there are very few guards in the league who can keep up with him. Truly one of the game's great young talents.
So an entirely new group in now for Indiana. Mahimi's checked in for Turner. Glenn Robinson III comes in for C.J. Miles. Chase Budinger, he's checked in for Ellis. Young is subbed in for George Hill. He throw good, Paul George.
For the Pacers last season, with Paul George being out for most of the season, they knew it would be a struggle. They would go into lengthy dry spells that made it hard for them to keep pace in the East, in part because they missed Paul George's all-around brilliance and his offense.
Now the dish to Budinger. From deep, George. 6-second difference between the shot and game clock. Young in the corner. Back to George. "15 seconds left to play in the third.
Nothing fancy consistency there. Didn't need it.
Nope. His only concern right now, Clark, is getting the points on the board, and I don't mean style points.
I like the simplicity.
Well, there's also style just with the fact that he's able to have that kind of a finish, though. Still, I like that pretty one-handed flush.
And here at the end of the third quarter, it's a double-digit ball game. Wizards lead by 10. We're going to step aside for just a second, but join us right back here for the start of the fourth quarter next. The fourth quarter just moments away now as we welcome you back. Fourth quarter on the court for the Wizards. The great pair of Wall and Beal are at the guard spots. Jared Dudley out there at Porter. And it's Gortat in at the pivot, manning the middle. And count the basket. He was fouled, and he's going to the line for one more.
How about the concentration? He gets hit, but stays with the play and gets the finish.
Innovation and improvisation right there, Greg. Finding a way to get that shot to fall after taking the contact.
Here's George. And that one is stuffed right through.
Can't say enough about his individual performance. I don't think you can overstate it. I mean, even if the all-around team effort's been lacking, this guy's been on top of things.
Here's Wall from downtown, and Jared Dudley gets the three.
The shot quality's very good here, and they're making most of them this half.
Yeah, converting at a really high level. The field goal percentage continues to creep upward.
Tell you what, he's not an easy guy to stop when he's got his sight on the rim.
Never has been, never will be. He is a determined finisher.
Did he just go chop there with that one-hand tomahawk slam?
Kept alive.
Even though he isn't having the best of games from the floor, it hasn't seemed to hurt him.
And George, here we go. Robinson dishes to Young. Indiana moving it around. Here's George, and he gets it to go. George has got 15 points in just the second half.
Another bucket in the paint. That's something they just have not been able to stop today.
Yeah, the defense is all about disrupting timing and spacing, and what they've got going right now is not getting it done.
And he gets the bucket. George has got 26.
Boy, such outstanding patience and decision-making for them offensively.
Absolutely. Their ball movement has been outstanding, and they're piling up the assists.
Pacers trailed by 9. Uncovered. And again, it's Indiana.
This quarter has brought out the best in them, fellas. Even though they're still trailing, he's been impossible to contain.
Here's Porter. No good. And Indiana will come the other way.
Time definitely not on their side.
They need a very quick bucket, a real quick one.
Yeah, really good defensive play to cut him off there and square up.
Excellent example of toughness and physicality on defense. Got his nose right in the middle of things and made a play.
Catching up on the changes now for Indiana. C.J. Miles, he's checked in for Robinson. Ellis comes in for Chase Budinger. And George Hills subbed in for Young. George, no good.
And maybe, you know, he thinks he can shoot himself out of the cold spell, but I don't think that's the case. Maybe somebody want to tell him to ease up off the threes. Well, if it wasn't out of reach, it is now, thanks to that last little spurt.
And why put the brakes on now? I just say keep on letting it fly.
Wall's shot is off.
Oh, it was a nice gamble, Kevin, but he just couldn't get it to go in.
Sinks it. What range from outside. Wow. And that's 31 points for Paul George. And so they choose to intentionally foul.
And you can see where they're coming from by fouling to stop the clock, but really they're just kidding themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this game is over, and they're the only ones who don't realize that.
From deep three-point range, but they recover it.
Just lazy defense on the glass there.
Well, nobody boxed out. Nobody put a body on anybody else. Things like that not only drive the coach crazy, that stuff gets under my skin.
And it's going to be out of bounds. The Pacers will take it.
And that's just carelessness there. I mean, you have got to have your head in the game.
Gortat with the steal. And so Washington takes